guys. Okay, so for the first unit, we are going to focus on integers. So I know you guys have been doing integers for a long time, but you've been on breaks and summer vacation. And so we're just going to freshen up those skills and make sure that you have those foundational math skills that are going to ensure that you're successful in pre-algebra. So go ahead and open up your pre-algebra notebook to the third page, and it's page number 1 because that's the first page we're going to take notes on. We're going to go ahead and start with our Unit 1 notes. So Unit 1 is all about integers, and today specifically we're going to talk about adding and subtracting integers. So ever since I've been teaching, I've noticed that my students always struggle when adding and subtracting. Is it a positive? Is it a negative? And so I've tried all kinds of ways to explain it to them. And I found that the easiest way for them to remember is using something called party or battle. So I'm going to show you that way, and hopefully it will make sense to you. So, party. We're going to use party when we have values that have the same sign. Okay, so they're both negative or they're both positive. People who have the same sign, we're going to call them kind of like groups, and they kind of like each other, right? They get along, so they're going to all join together. They're all going to party together. So I'm going to write it down so you can reference it. So we're going to say they like each other. So they all join the same party. You can think of it like when you were school, like all football players usually tend to hang out together, right? Or maybe all the theater people, they just kind of all come together. So you can kind of just think of it as groups, right? So these signs are labeling the different groups. Okay, so when we have this situation, we are going to keep the sign and just add the numbers. So I'm going to show you the questions that you're going to want to be asking yourself as you're doing this. Say we have something like 8 plus 5. Well, the 8's positive and the 5's positive, so they're in the same group. So we're going to keep the sign since they're both positives. Our sign is going to remain positive, which we don't need to write if it's already positive. And then we're simply going to just add the numbers. So we add 8 plus 5, which is 13. Let's do another example. Say we have a negative 3 minus 2. Again, they like each other because they're both negative, so they get along. They're going to party together. The two groups, the group of the 3 and the group of the 2, are going to join together. They're negative people, so our group's going to end up being negative. And then we ignore the signs and we just look at the values, which are 3 and 2. We add 3 plus 2, which gives us 5. So our answer is negative 5. The other situation we have is what we're going to call battle. Okay, so that's when we have different signs. And I just noticed that I missed writing signs up here. Okay, so they battle to see who is the largest and by how much. you are going to keep the sign of the largest number and subtract the other number. Okay, so let's look at an example and you'll see what I'm talking about. -6 plus 2. Okay, so see how the 6 is negative and the 2 is positive. So they don't get along. They clash because this person's a negative person and this person's a positive person, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to ask ourselves, which is the larger number? Is 6 or 2 the largest number? Well, we clearly know that 6 is bigger than 2. So we're going to keep the sign of the largest number. So the 6 is a negative. So our answer is going to be negative. And then they're going to battle it out. So we have 6 negatives fighting 2 positives. So the -6 kills 2 positives. So 6, you kill two positives, you're left with 4. So they battle, and we come out with -4. The negative number has 4 men left. Let's try another one. So we have -9 minus -2. This one's a little tricky because we have 3 signs. So remember that anytime you subtract a negative number, a negative and a negative, that becomes a positive. So you want to do that first. Now when we look at it, we have a negative and we have a positive. So they're going to battle. And we're going to ask ourselves, which one's the largest number? 9 or 2? Well, 9 is. 9's bigger than 2. So we're going to keep the sign of that larger number, which is negative. And then the 9's going to battle the 2, and we're left with 7. So the 9 takes out those 2, and there are 7 left. Okay, once you finish copying down those notes, go ahead and open up your pre-algebra workbook. And you're going to open up to the assignment that says adding and subtracting integers. So the first one, we have -23 minus -6. So again, if we are subtracting a negative, that's the same thing as adding a positive. So we want to switch that first. So our new problem is -23 plus 6. So we're going to ask ourselves, are we going to party or are we going to battle? Well, we have different signs, so they're going to battle. And who's going to win the battle? The bigger number, which is a negative. So our answer is going to be negative. And then 23 beats 6 by how many? Well, 23 minus 6 is 17. So it beats it by 17. So our answer is -17. Number 2, we have -11 minus 13. So we look at the signs, the 11 is negative and the 13 is negative. So they're going to party. They like each other. They get along. So if we have 2 negatives, we know our answer is going to be negative. Then we just add the numbers. So we join them together. They become a big happy family. 11 plus 13, which is 24. Okay, so go ahead and finish this assignment.